Our vision will not change, which is to be the best program in the state of Missouri. I mean, we're going to be successful because of the way that we practice, the way that we work, the way that we play, and that's what's going to make folks proud at the end of the day, and that's why we play football. Anyway, we got great kids, man, and that's probably the best part of this whole thing. Play the very best that we can play, no matter who we play, because at the end of the day, that's what we're supposed to do, is give our best, regardless of who we're playing, and I thought our kids did that. And, you have no idea how much it helps the kids, when the fans are behind them and the students are into it, so I just ask that they show up and let's be ready to go. You know what, I mean, if you approach life from the standpoint of, I want to be the very best I can be today and don't worry about tomorrow and don't worry about yesterday, it kind of works itself out. I mean, they're coaching their butts off every single day, every single minute to put the best product they can put out there. And we're going to have kids that are going to compete. Like, they're going to go out there and compete their butts off, and sometimes that's good enough, sometimes it's not. But what we have to do is do the fundamental things that's good for us, and that's hang on to the ball, try to have some big plays, be good in special teams. Like the objectives that it takes to win football, that's what we're working on every single day. Anybody that's ever been a competitor loves to compete. Like I can't wait for them to get in there, and let's see how our kids perform.
Nixa Football. Are you ready to fight? Flip on the lights. It's Friday night.
All right, well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the final wrap-up show of the Nixa Touchdown Club Coaches Show. Man, welcome, everybody. We are, well, hate to say the final show, but Coach, at some point it was going to have to end for the season. We knew that. But, Coach, we want a big thanks to our sponsors tonight. Of course, the annual sponsor of the Coaches Show was Jenkins Cpa, located right here in Nixon. Of course, tax season is coming up, so go ahead and make your appointment now. You can call their office. They've got express tax as well. You can get the fast tax or the full-on CPA service if you need it. Also, big thanks to the night real estate team with Old World Realty. They are our offensive and defensive plays of the week. And, Coach, we're going to go over some stats tonight, and that'll be kind of the offensive and defensive plays of the week. And then, of course, another big thanks to Big Al Sub here in Nixa. They are our preview for the upcoming 2021. And, of course, our host here tonight, Big Whiskeys. Hey, we really appreciate all our hosts here at Big Whiskeys, and they do a fantastic job. And Jamie and his crew tonight, Greg, they want to remind you that on Tuesday night, kids do eat free. And then, of course, they do have Sunday brunches, and I think they're going to work on a program, Coach. They're going to do a lot of the basketball games this year, too, and I think they've got it figured out now that when you come in for a Nixa basketball game, they're going to have it on every television. So that's kind of
awesome.
Cool. Yeah,
no
that'd be
doubt.
kind of neat. Have to check that out. All right. Well, by the way, and again, don't forget to check out the Nixa Touchdown Club. And if you're interested in supporting our program, that's exactly what we do. But we're kind of an alumni association. So we work with the Booster Club. We're not a separate Booster Club. We are an alumni association that just kind of supports and helps assist the Booster Club. We want to keep one strong Booster Club in our community. And Brian McCracken and his team do a great job of that. So consider joining the Touchdown Club. We also will have kind of already thinking about that cornhole tournament next year, Coach. That'll be a lot of fun. We'll do that back in July. We'll have sponsorship opportunities for that. And if you want to be a sponsor of next year's Touchdown Club Coaches Show, please let us know. You can always email info@Nixa Touchdown Club. Well, Coach, what a ride this year, huh?
It was really fun.
It has been it's been one of the most enjoyable experiences for not only me as a big fan, but the community itself. I mean, the other day at a Nixa Chamber event, I had Coach Perry come in, and you kind of came in and gave a little motivational speech, and everybody in the room has just been so pleased with the energy and the excitement that the football program has had this year. And guys, would you please do me a Touchdown Club welcome and give a big round of applause to our coach, Coach John Perry. I'm hearing the chants already, Coach. Well, Coach, we did have a great year, so let's just kind of go backwards a little bit. You know, you came in. When did you officially start with our program? I can't remember the exact date.
I think it was sometime in February. You know, maybe middle of February. I came up and got started, and you know, it wasn't long before spring break and the pandemic hit. I probably hadn't been here 2 or 3, 4 weeks when that happened.
Yeah, I remember you trying to move during the pandemic. That was a lot of fun.
It was
Buy
a challenge.
house. Yeah,
it was a challenge.
Well, Coach, you right away, I think you mentioned something the other day in that Chamber of Commerce event. You said that because of the pandemic, you felt like that gave you an even bigger opportunity to make a bigger impact on our program, and we may not have had the success we had if it weren't for the pandemic. Explain what you meant by that.
I know that's kind of weird, but, you know, in Nixa, you know, last year and you know, to a little bit now, kids go 1,000 different directions in the off season. You know, they go to all the different sports, and they didn't have, you know, football wasn't even a period, 8th period in the spring last year. So, you know, I would try to locate the football team, and I could never find them. I don't know where they were. They were all over the place. There were some kids coming after school, but they weren't all coming. So when the pandemic hit and, you know, we were able to start going online, it was, you know, and it started out kind of slow, but it kept growing and it kept growing. So then, you know, we got into where we had a lot of kids, you know, Zooming different things, whether it be position work, you know, the offensive coaches, the defensive coaches, leadership academy, like we had all different types of things going on. And, you know, I think that gave us a leg up on a lot of other folks that maybe sat around and didn't do anything. And I think, you know, that's the life. I think it's easy to sit around and not do anything, you know, but I think what we're supposed to do as human beings is find a way, no matter what's going on in the world today. And, you know, Zooming was a great answer that I wish I had bought stock in Zoom before it picked up, but, you know, I've missed on that like normal.
Well, finally, Coach, we got to the point where we can actually start having some practices. We got the kids on the field. We go in with the first test, I guess you really had, the jamboree to some extent up at Glendale High School. And then after that, we went into Branson, had a great victory in Branson, 42-6.
You know what? It was great to get, you know, through the summer. I thought the summer was really good. It was probably the first opportunity that I thought, you know, that we had a chance to be pretty good just because of the buy-in from the seniors and from the team. You know, when it was time to work out, they were all there.
Yeah.
You know, when we had our first, you go back to February, we had our first Leadership Academy meeting at 6 o'clock in the morning, and every one of them is sitting in the room at 5:50. You know, like they were eager to jump on board and go to work. This summer worked really hard, and then the season kicks off, and you know, you still don't know. I mean, I don't know what to expect because I've never seen those teams play live. You know, all I could go off of what we had, and I thought we were pretty good. And you know, the jamboree was great. You know, I kind of like Coach Mock up there at Glendale. He's been kind to me, so he was willing to play. And then we played Branson, and then we rolled into the Joplin game, which was, you know, a really big game for us.
Yeah, you know, that was an exciting time. We get to do the ribbon cutting of the new stadium, which, by the way, I understand that our stadium won a big award the other day, a design award, so that's pretty cool. Big ribbon cutting, a big win in Joplin, 35-34, very dramatic game, and really set the tone for the rest of the season, I believe.
I think so. I mean, I think, you know, to really buy in, you got to have some good things happen. And, you know, that night, I think the good Lord was an Eagle fan. Things kind of bounced our way right there at the end, and we were able to come out with a win. And that was, you know, for our guys to buy in, to work as hard as they do. I thought that was big, you know, for momentum and going forward.
Of course, then we go into Willard, 42-6. We got Republic the next week, 35-7. And then we're going to go, Neosho was kind of a rebuilding year for them, 51-0. And then we had come up with a backyard brawl. Coach, tell me about your experience in Ozark.
I thought it was great. Turned out pretty good. You know, I didn't get anything to eat while I was over there, but, you know, I thought the game turned out really well. You know, I was proud of our kids. You know, that's a big-time game. That's, you know, you want your guys to play their best, and I thought our guys were, you know, absolutely awesome that night. I thought our crowd was awesome. You know, I thought, you know, the way our folks was there before the gates opened and filled the bleachers. I thought we had more folks than they had, and that's absolutely awesome.
Of course, you know, you got a good taste of Webb City. Now you know what to expect when you go into Webb City, so great learning experience about that. We had a big win over Carl Junction. Of course, Carthage, another great experience of you understanding how next year we're going to have those guys at home, and that hopefully is going to be a bigger advantage for us. And then, of course, you know, the Lee Summit West game, 40-28, another big victory for our football program.
You know what? I think the sometimes you learn more from the losses than you learn from the win. I think the Webb City game was big for us. I think the Carthage game was big for us. I think Carthage kind of told everybody that we can play. We just have to play 4 quarters. We let a play right before half kind of demoralize us and turn us into a little bit of a tailspin, and that's on us. The way we handle adversity is on us. I think our guys come home from that game at least knowing that we have a chance to beat anybody if we believe in ourselves and we play hard and we do things right and don't worry about people that make mistakes. People that are doers are going to make mistakes. That's part of life.
Yeah.
If you're not making mistakes, you're not doing anything.
And the Ray-Pet game, it had its challenges, and I think we had some mistakes there. But I think a different team. I think this team here against Lee Summit West shows up. We win that game pretty easily, but again, some great lessons learned in Class 6 football in Kansas City.
Well, I think we obviously. I told somebody today, I think I'd rather get beat by 50 than to get beat by 3. When you get beat by 3, you wonder about this or that, and it could have went either way. We had our chances to win that ball game, and we just didn't get it done at the end of the day, But it was a great experience. It was a great football team. They had a really good football team. I thought they controlled the line of scrimmage, and to win championship football games, you got to be able to run the football. Because even if you're in Mississippi in November and December, it's going to be cold and it's going to rain. And at some point in time, life of a wide receiver gets rough. You got to be able to run the ball. And I think in our 3 losses, we could not run the football as well. And you have to be able to do that to a certain extent. And that's something that we've got to improve in the offseason. That's something that we've thrown on Coach Gold. That's why he's here tonight, because he's going to be a big factor in that improving moving forward.
Well, let's talk about some of these players a little bit. Of course, we're not going to really highlight an offensive play of the week, but what we are going to talk about, and by the way, thanks to the Knight Real Estate team for doing that for us, but we are going to kind of dive into some of these stats here a little bit, Coach. So we had some really impressive numbers. I know Coach Wells has got to be proud of these numbers as well. Offensively, Coach, this year, 1,722 yards passing.
That's pretty good, you got 1,700 rushing. It's pretty balanced. I don't know if that's the way it's supposed to be or not. We kind of look at balance as being able to run when you want to run, being able to pass when you need to pass, and But those numbers are pretty good. I thought we had a successful offensive season. I thought we were pretty good, and the reason why we won as many games as we did was we did not turn the ball over. I actually think the fumble that was not a fumble Friday night was only our second fumble all year long, which is absolutely amazing, that we were able to hang on to the ball like we were, and that has a great deal to do with the success.
Well, and of course, some of our offensive leaders this year, Reed Potts. Honestly, Reed came in halfway through the season, got back on the field, 842 yards passing. I think he'd have had 1,700 yards passing this year, because Austin had just right at 800 yards passing. He had 8 touchdown passes. Austin ended up getting 13 in the first half of the season. But how about your sophomore running back?
Unbelievable for a kid to be able to go out there and perform at the level that he performs at, and to get 1,300 yards. And he'll be the first one to tell you, the offensive line got better and better and better and better. And, the better they get, the better he's going to get. And the sky's the limit. He has a lot of God-given natural ability, but the great football players, basketball players, baseball players in the world that have the natural talent are also the guys that work the hardest. You know what I'm saying? So he's still got a lot of work to do to be the very best that he can be. But, if he continues to work and strive to be the best, he could obviously be one of the best backs to ever come through this school. And I'd like to say, Reed Potts, as a senior for this football team, for somebody to, tear their ACL in July and not get it fixed, and to play the entire year, and get hurt in the Joplin game and come back, that's a big factor in how we go about doing business. Because if Reed Potts is going to play on a torn ACL, how can another young man walk out there on that field and complain about an injury or, my wrist hurts or this dude's playing on a torn ACL, like bow up and let's go, and that is a prime example of being tough, and Reed wasn't going to let that set him back this year. So I'm excited that he got to finish the year, that he got to have some highlights. And, the game against Lee Summit West, he was absolutely phenomenal. And, all of those things he got to experience, whereas, if he'd have had the surgery, he don't get to do a lot of that. So I'm really proud of the effort that man played with.
I'm going to get an applause sign for next year, Coach, and we can click the button, but that deserves a big applause. And I was so happy to see him out there. I really was. As a quarterback myself, and way back, and don't want to sound like Al Bundy, but way back in the day, I'm always rooting for those quarterbacks. Well, Coach, another big thing we're going to lose this year is you are graduating one heck of a senior wide receiver core. Smith Wheeler, Michael Sportsman, Jackson Bray, all these guys. Tell me tell me about your thoughts about our wide receivers this year.
Man, they were absolutely great. Being able to pull Smith out of the school building, was a definite highlight. A super talented kid and also a great leader. A kid that, got bummed up and couldn't play. He tried to play versus Webb. He had a toe deal, and I refused to let him play, and he kept trying to go in. You're just like, you appreciate the thought of trying to be tough and to play through. And that's a kid that didn't even play football last year.
Right.
Michael Sportsman, absolutely awesome. Nate Nixon, Jackson Bray moves
moving from
in.
Spokane, man.
And never having played football, and what a star he was. And I promise you, the first time that somebody told me that he was moving into town and I saw him, I went home and told my wife, there's no way in the world that kid's going to help us. No way. Look at him. He's 150 pounds soaking wet, and he just didn't look like a football player. But when you put that helmet on, it was kind of like putting that cape on Superman. He turned into a great football player. Super proud for him. The kid was the punter.
Yeah.
He's never played football before.
Right.
I just saw him kick a ball one day. I was like, you're the punter. And he didn't really like it, but he did it, because he was a team player on top of that.
And Coach, I want to go one more. Talk about your senior offensive line, man. I didn't put them in here. They don't get the stats, right? Yeah, they do. These stats, each one of these stats are those senior offensive linemen. You don't get those stats without those guys.
You think about this, and this is, Reed Potts being a tough kid, and one of our deals is we want to be tough because we believe that to be successful in life, you're going to have to be tough because there's going to be bad things that happen. You got to be able to handle adversity. Football teaches you that more than anything in this world. Reed's an example of that. Josh Jones, the left tackle, this is a kid that would go out there because he had two left knees. He would jump up and he would land. His knee would pop out of play, his kneecap. He would dislocate his kneecap. He'd pop it back in and go back out there and keep playing.
Go play football.
And they kept trying to tell him you need to go have it checked out, but he refused to have it checked out until football season was over with. And he would do it. He did it one time before the ball game, and goes in there, and I'm just holding my breath, thinking, is he going to be okay? But, those type of kids, I'll never forget. Matias Marino was the offensive guard that did all the pulling and just a hard-nosed kid, man. And when you have kids like that up front, and we all know there's a special room in heaven for offensive linemen already, right? Because the only person watching them is their mama, right? Most of them don't even have girlfriends yet, right? They just hadn't got that far in life, but their mamas are watching them, and they are team players. You know what I mean? It took me a while to I was an offensive lineman too, so it took me a while to get a wife, but.
Well, we can't forget those guys, and they've done a great job too. But, Coach, defensively too, right? Our Night Real Estate Team Defensive Play of the Week is really focusing on some of those defensive leaders. Of course, what do you say about a guy like Stephen Ward?
Me and Stephen talked today a little bit about, the difference in that young man between last year and this year is phenomenal. If you go back and pull up and watch tape from last year, you would not even recognize it as the same kid. You would swear somebody moved in and put on that number 5 and went to play, and the sky's the limit. We're in strange times right now, recruiting wise, because they can't leave campus. Some of them they can. The Division II guys the seniors are getting another year, so that's cutting into this. It's a strange year, but he will find him a place to play, and he will blossom because he is a super talented. Can run.
Well, he's still going to grow.
Oh, he's unbelievable. Yeah. He's going. Talent wise is phenomenal, and the season he had. 143 tackles. I heard him say the other day he was 3 or 4 off of the record at Nixa or whatever. I need to go back and investigate that because he probably made those.
Yeah, you go find them somewhere.
But,
sure.
A phenomenal athlete and had a great year. Attitude was awesome, and he grew as an individual probably as much as anybody out there. From the time I got here, till now. Really proud of him. Riley Childs went to Coach Wickwar at some point in time and said, I think I can play safety instead of linebacker. So Coach Wickwar was like, okay, well, let's try it. Man, it was a great move for us, a phenomenal football player, hard-nosed. We probably, didn't get enough out of him because he probably could have played more stuff and did more things because he is a fantastic athlete that will still play a lot of football in the future. A couple of defensive linemen, John Golson, Dylan Nelson, very special kids, played as hard as they could play. And, we're lucky to have Golson coming back because we thought he was as good a player as there was in the conference. And then Colin Eli, if there was a young man that probably changed for the better, was him. From the start of the summer to where we thought about like maybe he don't need to be on the team because he was very iffy in his showing up and his, some of that stuff was very iffy. When he jumped on board, like we saw more change in that kid. His attitude was great. A phenomenal football player that will play some more football and had a fantastic year. His numbers are not as great as they could be because most folks late in the year would not throw it over there to him. They just wouldn't throw it to his side, and he had a fantastic year and super proud of him. So you take and I've used it as an example earlier on, but the difference in kids, talking to the coaches because I didn't know him before I got here. But Ben Mills is another one that,
Mills.
throughout the course of
Absolutely.
the year just kept getting better and better and better, and listening to the coaches describe him, last year to this year, the confidence that grew in him to be able to go out there and do what he did is unbelievable.
How about number 4? Clayton
Number
Huber.
4. Ooh, Clayton Huber, man, I'm going to tell you what, he almost should have got a supplement because I think he knew the defense better than the coaches. You know what I'm saying? Like he would actually bring up defensive coverages that we would run 3 or 4 weeks ago, and Coach Wigwar would just be like, yeah, that's right. Like, I don't even know if Coach Wigwar remembered that, but, he was kind of the quarterback per se. I mean, what a great kid. Phenomenal Nixa Eagle that was
Heritage.
a great example for other people to follow. And we had a lot of seniors. And I'm going to tell you, the ones that probably don't get enough credit are the seniors that show up every day to practice. They give everything they got for the team, and they don't get what they want on Friday night. I have more respect for those guys, than I do the guys that – I told this the other day, and anybody can be Stephen Ward. Like anybody would trade shoes with him. Let me go be the star. But everybody won't trade shoes with that guy that don't get to play on Friday night, but shows up every single day to practice with a great attitude and gets after it. Those are the people that will come back one day and be the mayor of Nixa and be the doctor that's doing your heart surgery. Like those are the true champions in this world. And my hat's off to those guys as well.
Yeah, we could spend all night talking about how great some of these kids are, Coach. But I also know that you couldn't have done and had the success that you had this year, not only not without the players, but also the coaches and the parents.
We started doing our coaching evaluations today, and I told every one of them, when they come through, the sad thing is because – things were a little different. Things were a little, like people always give the coach too much praise. The coach don't deserve it. Just like the quarterback don't deserve all the praise or the negativity. If we didn't have great coaches here, we wouldn't be sitting here talking about a pretty good season either. We just so happened to come into a place that had great coaches that jumped on board right off the bat and went to work. And, it made life for all of us so much better.
Yeah. And, of course, you had a great support from the day you got here from all the parents and the fans, and I know that they worked hard behind the scenes. You had parents out video in your practices.
Yeah, man. What about that? We had Sherry Potts and Brian McCracken, volunteered. And that's, you have no idea how much it means for a coach or a player to be able to go back and watch what they did. How do you get better if you can't correct yourself off of film? So them volunteering their time, is absolutely awesome. Two people that care a lot about the program, and, we're very appreciative of them.
Well, Coach, it's been a great season. 9-3 is the final record. It's time to start, as you always do in the normal Coaches Show week. We always get through that little recap, and then we start focusing on the future of the program. And so part of that includes Coach John Gold. So he's going to be coming up after the break. Tell us a little bit about Coach Gold and what he means to the program.
Well, I'm hoping he's a former iron, one of them strongmen type people. You know what I'm saying? Like he'll go out there and lift rocks and stuff. And I got a rock outside I brought. I'm gonna try to get in here and see if he can pick it up and put it on this table right here. But, he's a fantastic guy, has been a football coach for a long time, but his passion is in that weight room. And, I think you'll see he's as excited as I am about where we're going, how we're going to get there. The way we fix the run game is in the weight room. You know, you can take anybody in this world and you can make them bigger and you can make them stronger. You can't make them taller.
That's right.
But we can make them bigger and stronger, and that's what we're going to do with Coach Gold.
All right, we'll be back right after these messages from our main sponsor, Jenkins Cpa, and the night real estate team with Old World Realty. We'll be right back.
Hi, welcome to Jenkins Cpa. Come on in and I'll give you the tour. Our office is friendly and inviting. You'll be greeted by Madison at the front desk. Check out our playroom and enjoy watching the fish. Let's make our way back to bookkeeping, where you'll find Emily processing payroll. Our friendly staff is always here to answer any questions that you might have. Here we find Taylor entering accounts payable and Caitlin picking up any slack. Next door, you can find Marlo, our accounting manager, working hard to get our company set up properly and answering all of those pesky IRS love letters. Vance, our CFO, keeps our business moving and provides individual tax services to our clients. Kevin Y, CPA, overall brilliant accounting master, solving the world's problems. And across the hall, we'll find Mason, the health insurance guru, getting ready to head to our Springfield office. At Jenkins CPA, our days are spent building all sorts of questions and projects the world throws at us, creating a fun environment where you can laugh your tax off. Thank you for joining us today for our tour. So when you're ready, we'll be ready for you.
Jenkins CPA.
Hello, we are Doug and Denise Knight, and we are the night team of Old World Realty. Together, we have over 50 years of real estate and construction background and knowledge. We can help you buy and sell or build with our partner, Old World Cottages, right there in Nixa. Whether it's an investment property or a family home or a specialty custom home, we want to be your resource for all your real estate needs.
We work with honor, service, and loyalty, and we partner with those who do the same.
Because that is the night way.
Nixa Football. Are you ready to fight? Flip on the lights. It's Friday night.
And once again, welcome back to the Nixa Touchdown Club Coaches Show. Our next guest today is Coach John Gold, our strength coach with the Nixa program. And really, you're the strength coach not only for the football program, but for many programs that benefit our Nixa athletic community. Coach, tell us about how you got to Nixa and how long you've been in this role.
Well, my family's actually from Nixa. My great uncle was the mayor of Nixa back in the day.
Finest Gold
Finest
is your
Gold.
uncle. I got a
Yep.
really cool picture of him at my office over at the Chamber of Commerce office.
Yep, I've got a lot of history at Nixa through my family, and I was at Willard for a long time. I was their defensive coordinator, and I decided I needed a change. Just wanted to head to a new place, and because I'd been there my whole life, and said I had a lot of friends at Nixa, and said, that sounds like a good place to go, and got the opportunity to come here. And
What year was that again?
that would have been 4 years ago, so like 2016. And I coached 1 year of football, and that was it. And then they made the strength coach position for all the sports, and they gave it to me.
So how has the program evolved over the years, over the last 4 years?
Well, the first year I coached football and did the strength coaching job, so it was kind of flying by the seat of my pants and trying to figure things out that way. But then I got a chance to kind of sit and focus and really work on each sport, and each sport was kind of in a different place. You know, lifting wasn't something every sport did that much of or prioritized, and it took some commitment and buying in, and right now we've got virtually every sport bought in, at least to getting time in the weight room, doing the workouts. Football's always been committed, but right now we've got a really big push ahead of us, and Coach Perry's done a great job of getting our kids bought in.
Sure.
And understanding what needs to be done and finding resources and time for us. Getting strong is just a commitment of time and food.
You know, the Nixa school, they did a really nice video on your program. And Coach, I'm going to show this here real fast, and then I want to talk to you about maybe a little bit about the video, and then also what the football players will be experiencing moving forward, getting ready for 2021. But check out this cool video about your program, brought to you by the Nixa Public Schools.
The summers off doesn't really apply to our athletes very much. They're here 4 days a week for the most part. Some teams are 2 days a week, at least an hour, if not 2 hours, of either weight room stuff, field stuff, or practice, conditioning. They're doing a lot.
I play safety, quarterback, running back, and probably some linebacker. Whenever I first came here, I mean, I was in good shape, but I wasn't near as big or strong as I was before. And now Coach Gold's had us on a great program, and I'm getting really, really strong. Just the atmosphere, you know, everybody's encouraging each other. You know, whenever people are going for PRs or trying to get, you know, the most weight they can, it's awesome because everybody's cheering each other on and, you know, yelling at each other. During the summer, you want to stay up late, but you have to train yourself to, you know, get at least 8 or 9 hours of sleep instead of going to bed at 9:30 because we're getting here at 7:40.
I'm looking forward to going to state. That's our whole goal. Our whole mindset is we're going to be the best team in the state of Missouri. And like what Coach said, it doesn't matter. We're always going to get better no matter what. I play running back and linebacker.
We are doing things differently than normal. We limit it to 28 kids in the weight room at a time to keep the social distancing. We have 14 racks. One kid's at a rack, one kid's outside of the rack, and then we're making sure to sanitize the bar between use and everything we use, we're sanitizing. Kids have it down. You know, on our timer, part of the workout is spray and sanitize, you know, which has never been that way before, but they're learning.
Coach Gold, in the weight room, he has his Germex and wipe down all the weights and stuff. And then out here, we're outside, so we're pretty far away from each other most of the time.
That was actually our number one fear with the whole break for COVID is if they're not training, they're not going to be prepared, and the injury rates could be quite a bit higher. And we're hoping to make up the ground we lost and keep that from happening, but you know, we will only see that as the seasons come on and see what happens.
Well, Coach, that video right there speaks a lot about your program, and I'm curious, you know, Nixa has provided you with some state-of-the-art facilities. How are you going to prepare our upcoming football players for the future of Nixa football?
Well, they got a little taste of it yesterday. Some of them are kind of hobbling around today from it, but it's going to be a lot of really intense, really heavy, a lot of volume sets with weight on their back, squatting, deadlifting, benching, over and over and over and over. It just takes time, commitment, and again, food.
Lots of food, he
Lots
says.
of
I know
food.
Coach says he wants peanut butter and jelly in your locker room every day. Well, do you do like a specific program for the – is there different workouts for the offensive linemen, defensive linemen versus your skill players? I mean, how does that work out?
Right now, we're not really there yet. We're
Okay.
just focusing on our general strength for everybody. I do have a little bit different program going on for football than I do the other sports, just because they need so much more strength than everybody else. But as we get going, we will kind of start fine-tuning the movements, you know, working more lockout strength for linemen, especially defensive linemen, working more lateral mobility for some of our running backs and things like that, just fine-tuning the skill specifics for their position. But at this point, we just got to get bigger and stronger.
Well, Coach, I can tell you one thing. It sounds to me like we have the right person for the job. What do you guys think? Is that Coach Gold pretty good, Coach? And he's got a lot of passion. And, Coach, we're excited to see how not only do you benefit the football program, but how your program continues to grow to benefit all of our athletes at Nixa. Thanks so much for joining us on the Nixa Touchdown Club. Did you enjoy your dinner here at Big Whiskey's tonight?
I always enjoy dinner, but I always enjoy it here even more.
What'd you get here tonight?
I got the buffalo chicken dip, and there's not much left.
Well, very good. Big thanks to our sponsors here tonight, Big Whiskey's Bar and Grill, and Jamie and his crew, all the bartenders, waitresses, all the people here tonight. Make sure you tip them well. We really appreciate them, have been the host all year long for us and been great. Well, coming up next, Coach, is we're going to have the Big Al Sub 2021 preview with Coach John Perry. We'll be back right after this message from Big Al Subs. I'm getting an applause sign. Thanks, Coach. All right. A proud sponsor of the Nixa Touchdown Club is Big Al's Subs, located in downtown Nixa on Main Street. You're going to find amazing food, great service, and of course a big variety of subs, pizzas, spuds, and a whole lot more. Plus they have that Dole Whip there at Big Al's. They have a drive-thru, they offer delivery and inside dining. Plus, if you need an event catered, think of Big Al Subs. Again, Big Al Subs sandwiches located in downtown Nixa, right there on Main Street, a proud supporter of Nixa schools.
Nixa Football. Are you ready to fight? Flip on the lights. It's Friday night.
Well, welcome back to the Nixa Touchdown Club Coaches Show, brought to you by Jenkins Cpa. Don't forget that it is tax season, Coach. It's just right around the corner. I hate to talk about it, I hate to think about it, but it is what it is, and the professionals at Jenkins CPA are ready to help. They also have Express Health and Tax, so they can do it fast or they can do it very methodical. You know, I like fast taxes, get it over with. You know what I mean?
Can they do it where you don't pay a whole lot in?
Well, they'll do their best. I can tell you what, Vance always does a great job, and him and Heather and their team over there at Jenkins CPA. So check them out, and we appreciate them being the big main sponsor all season long. But right now, we're going to get into the Big Al Subs 2021 preview. Coach, you know, when I started kind of looking at this year's stats and I started kind of diving into some of our future stars, I mean, we have some talented kids coming back to the program in 2021.
No doubt about it. We had a lot of underclassmen that, you know, played a lot of football. We had a lot of sophomores that played, you know, and sometimes that's not great if sophomores are playing on Friday night for the current year, but you know, down the road is really great, you know, and some of them you have on the screen there. We've obviously talked about Ramon.
Sure.
Austin McCracken coming back will be, you know, absolutely phenomenal. What a great athlete, you know, can do a bunch of different things. Kason Hammett's going to be a guy that, you know, was he grew a lot during the season as far as learning how to play running back, you know, and he's going to be a guy that's going to force his way onto the field because he is 100% dedicated to getting bigger and stronger and running that football. So, you know, we can hopefully look for having Ramon and Kason back there at the same time, you know, some next year, which would be absolutely awesome. Jaden Avon, the linebacker, you know, had a great year. I mean, he played that Sam backer, and, you know, he pretty much shut down half the side of the field a lot of nights. You know, they didn't want to go over there. He's a physical guy that sometimes can play the game with a little bit of a mean streak like you like in defensive players, you know. So we're glad to have him coming back with 92 tackles.
Yeah.
Michael Turner was another one that, you know, when the season started, you know, I don't know where he was on the radar, but we kept going back. You take the filming that Brian and Sherry was doing, we'd go to start watching it, and I kept noticing him over and over and over, always being in the right place, doing the right thing. And, you know, he kind of through practice just started climbing that chart, had a fantastic year, you know, knows how to read blocks and get the job done. Antonio Perez came on as the year went on, also played some tight end. We got a lot of guys, man,
Sure.
that are coming back.
I know our freshman program was really strong this year, so they're going to be feeding into the system in the future.
Yeah, that's a really good group. I mean, they lost one game, and I dare say if they could go back and play that game, they would have won that one. There are a lot of good players on that team. We had a lot of other underclassmen that, you know, we had 3 offensive linemen coming back that, you know, were absolutely crucial this year. You put them in, you know, Gold's program for a solid year, they're going to do nothing but get better, you know. We got a lot of guys that we are really proud to have coming back that, you know, should make the future really bright.
Well, you know, one of the other cool things that we're doing in the Nixa football program now is we have the youth program, and this is another really cool video that Nixa Public Schools made on that youth sports program. And they were talking about not only football here, Coach, but also talking about the baseball program.
Sure.
And I know they're talking about the wrestling. Dustin Martin's got a bid in here, and I know they're building a basketball program right now. But let's check out this video real fast on the youth sports program here at Nixa Public Schools.
It was a push that we had heard from the community that they would like to see. And we are so fortunate that the school stood behind that, budgeted some money especially for Nixa Youth Football, for the fact that, buying all the football pads and helmets and not just buying the cheap stuff, we're buying, good stuff.
Just the kids' faces and how happy they are. They want to be out here. They love it. And that's what I like. And that's what we want them all to be out here. We want as many as we can to get out here from day one where they've never played at all to now here we are 2 or 3 games into the season. They've adapted. They're learning. They're doing great. Everybody likes to win. They want to win. But we're learning the game. Obviously, we're trying to implement what Coach Perry is doing at the high school level. So that way, we learn the basics, the terminology, formations, how we line up. So that way, as they get older, the transition, when they get to him, they're already ahead of the game.
At the end of the day, if we can beat Team Nixa, we're going to be better off, when they get into the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. So, if we can kind of teach some of the same fundamental things, then, that's a win for us because a lot of cities don't have that.
We started with our youth football and we molded it around that, and then it grew. And so this last year we've picked up youth baseball under the supervision of Jason Doherty. We have 7U all the way through 15 or 16U, and then also with our youth wrestling.
We start at age 5, and then we go all the way through the 8th grade school year. We have 3 different tiers to our program. At the beginning, it's definitely about very, very basic fundamentals and just enjoying the sport. And obviously, as we get into our more experienced older kids, we're going to push them a little bit harder, but we still want to have fun and make sure we're enjoying the sport. We got a returning state champion, Ashlyn Eli, who just came out in the national rankings. That she's sitting at number 21, so we're pretty excited about that. And then we've got a couple other returning state qualifiers.
It's just really neat to see them grow.
Well, Coach, you can see right there, you guys are already, you're not only thinking about the upcoming years, like next year and the season after, you're thinking about 10 years from now. You're developing players for future football programs.
Well, we've already had a discussion this week about how can we help that program be better? How can we do things better? I thought it was a good year with those guys, man. They're excited, and they're, we started with a coaches meeting right off the bat, but there are things we can do as a high school staff to help those guys and help that program even more. So we want to try this offseason to be better at that.
Yeah. Future is bright at Nixa Football. Don't you guys think so? Coach John Perry. Coach, this is your chance right here on the Coaches Show to give your final thoughts, your final just big motivational thought here about the entire 2020 team.
Well, I would say very grateful, for the opportunity to be here, the people that we've worked with, the community jumping on board, we're as a family and as a coaching staff, we're grateful for the opportunity to be here and to see things, keep getting better and better and better. It was awesome to see the community get on board. Yeah. The parents were phenomenal. I've never coached anywhere where we had as much, parent support, and it was good. We didn't have, negative parents. We didn't have negative people in the program. Now they might have been negative when I wasn't around, and that's okay. Sometimes my wife gives me a hard time, but she just don't do it when I'm around. But, but it was absolutely awesome, man. I'm just grateful for you doing this. the amount of folks that are able to turn this on and watch it from all over, is phenomenal. And that's all it is growing the program, man. It's bringing more people in, getting them more excited, making Friday night something that the people in the town can be proud of, and something that our goal as a football team is to go out there and do something in such a way that the town is proud of the way we play, and their families are proud of them, and their school is proud of them, and that's what it's all about. We're just grateful.
I think that part of the goal of this program is to build advocacy for the program, for one. But, we've never had a chance, this community has never had a chance to really get to know the coaches, to really get to know the players. And I'm glad that we were able to do that this year, to hear some funny stories that these guys told, some of the players and how they get motivated, how they get excited for a game. And then, of course, we got to visit with the coaching staff and get an inside track on what they're thinking, where they came from, how they arrived in Nixa, Coach. That's something that we've never had in our community. And so it's been an honor and privilege this year to be a part of this show with you and all. Dustin Martin's been helping us tonight. Vance Jenkins is behind the camera. Dustin's doing the wrestling thing, I believe, tonight, but all the hard work that's went into this, the players that help set up every night and help me unload the equipment. But, Coach, it's been great and fun and exciting to do the show with you this year, and I'm looking forward to 2021.
No doubt. Can't wait.
All right, Coach, I'm going to wrap things up. That is our Big Whiskey. Here at Big Whiskey's, our coaches show, Nixa Touchdown Club coaches show. Again, big thanks to Jenkins Cpa, our premier sponsor, the Night Real Estate team at Old World Realty, Big Al Sub, Big Whiskey's, and of course, don't forget to make sure and follow not only the Nixa Touchdown Club, the Nixa Athletic Booster Club, Nixa Football pages. We're going to all be sharing information about ways that you can get involved in the program in the future, whether that's an event that we're doing or a fundraiser or whatever that looks like. We're going to make sure that our community understands how they can support Nixa Football. Guys, thank you so much for the audience joining us tonight. We appreciate you being here. And that's a wrap for the 2020 football season for the Nixa Touchdown Club Coaches Show.
Here we are.